If you need to know what went down in the May Cardano 360 but don't have 2 hours to spare, fear not, because Ada from Africa has got you covered. Our review of the May 360 will give you a breakdown of all the key details in a fraction of the time. Okay, let's go. Welcome to the Ada from Africa 360 review. Before we get down to business, give those like and subscribe buttons a smash and ensure you'll always get our Cardano updates. Right, let's get started. In this review, we'll cover the updates relating to the color-coded phases of Alonzo, Marlo, the Plutos Pioneers, the Plutos Partners, the ERC20 Converter and the Singularity Net migration to Cardano, the peer-to-peer test network, Project Catalyst, and lastly a surprise event in September. The Alonzo rollout plan is made up of 5 color-coded phases before mainnet release. First we have Alonzo Blue, and its key features are: it is the alpha testnet, with the testing at this stage being done by a select group of Plutos Pioneers, Plutos Partners, and stake pool operators. It will initiate with a basic node starting point, then gradually build out functionality, including smart contracts. Next is Alonzo White, which aims to add developers and core functionality. This phase will involve testing being opened up to more participants. Plutos Pioneers will deploy demo dApps. Work will be done on the Daedalus wallet and Plutos backend. Testing of scripts for smart contracts will be done in a live environment. Performance benchmarking will begin and usage costs will also be measured. In short, Alonzo White brings a more stable, fuller featured network for early building and benchmarking. Following this is the Alonzo Purple phase, which is where we will really start to see the full extent of what Alonzo has to offer. Specifically speaking, a fully public network with smart contract functionality, all components having been upgraded to Alonzo, including wallets, Rosetta API for exchanges, Explorer, GraphQL, and hardware wallets. The last 2 phases of Alonzo before mainnet, being red and black, will look to be the shortest in terms of rollout and will focus on testing the scalability and stability of the network and features before the Alonzo mainnet release. I know this is quite a lot to take in and conceptualize, so here's a partner with an overview that also details the timeline.
But at the end of the day, guys, it's a 30, 60, 90-day plan, right? And what this actually means is you start off with Blue. It's a little smaller, more tight-knit. We start off with the basic functionality, bring a few pioneers, few SPOs on, and we start rolling there. And then we move on to White, where we now cast a little bit wider net and we bring in more partners. And now you start running more performance benchmarks and things of that nature. Then White rolls into Purple, which is now fully public. We're talking about every pioneer, we're talking about most SPOs, if not all SPOs. We're talking about exchanges. And at this stage, we're really ready to go. And I know Nigel and the delivery team have spoken about the kind of the red stage and then the black stage, but those are really tiny stages. So it's really all about the purple. Once you get to the purple stage, we are pretty much close to the hard fork combinator event within that 30, 60, 90-day window, from start to blue, ending with purple. So there you have it.
Moving on to probably the most powerful update in my opinion, Marlo is looking to give people with zero programming knowledge the ability to deploy smart contracts, which will include off-the-shelf financial contracts focused on the user experience. Therefore, the community is ultimately empowered to drive the direction of Marlo's use cases. This will be a game changer in my view. For those of you who may not have been aware of Marlo before, here's an introduction.
Let's talk about Marlo. It's something you might have heard about here and there, but I don't really think that people understand how important Marlo will be for the future of smart contracts and Cardano. In finance, there are common types of financial agreements that happen all the time, such as escrow, swaps, CFDs, and various types of bonds. And for the most part, these services are carried out by third parties that charge hefty fees, or in some cases, percentages of the funds involved to execute these services. But we're heading into the future, and we can leverage blockchain technology to do the heavy lifting. Blockchains are immutable, meaning once the info has been input, it can't be changed. This is the ideal condition for anything to do with financial contracts, because you certainly don't want people changing things that have already been agreed upon, especially if the other party doesn't know. And when it comes to security, Cardano is the most secure proof-of-stake blockchain in the world. But we can do even better than just the security that blockchain technology offers. And that's where Marlo comes into play. Marlo is a DSL, which stands for Domain-Specific Language. And that means Marlo is a language created specifically to handle financial contracts like the ones I mentioned at the start of this video. This makes it a special purpose coding language, written in the language of finance rather than a general purpose language, which means it's easier to read, write, and understand. It's also safer. Some errors are impossible to write based on the way the language has been written, and we can completely analyze contract behavior without having to run a contract. Okay, so Marlo is a coding language native to Cardano, but it's also a suite of products. And some of those products are intended for developers and some for the everyday user. So let's take a look at both sides, starting with the products for the everyday user. Marlo's first iteration will be a browser-based application, which will give you access to the Marlo suite, which includes Marlo Library. And this is where you can find ready-to-use contract templates from an open source library. This will give anyone the ability to use all those financial agreements I mentioned previously and more by simply selecting one of the agreements from the library of verified smart contracts and then filling in your information. And for the developers, Marlo was built with accessibility in mind. You can use either JavaScript or Haskell to build Marlo contracts, or you can write in the native language of Marlo itself. And if you're new to coding, you can take it one step further and use an innovative open source tool known as Blockly, which allows you to build financial smart contracts by simply dragging and dropping different options into place. This sort of accessibility opens the door to a much wider audience of potential developers, and now people with extensive knowledge in finance but little in coding can bring their expertise to the blockchain and evolve the space that is DeFi. This is really quite a big deal when you take a moment to think about the billions of people that don't currently have access to these types of tools, and will be able to have access to them no matter where they live in the world as long as they have access to internet. Consider those people that have no identity and no access to banking. Marlo is able to give them access to credit and banking instruments with just internet access. Marlo is one step closer to bringing peer-to-peer services to the world and eliminating unnecessary third parties. And this is in line with Cardano's mission for financial inclusion. Marlo's aim is to democratize finance and make it accessible to everyone.
If that introduction piqued your interest in Marlo, here's a little demo of what to expect with the upcoming release of Marlo Run.
Runs in the browser, and what it does is provide the end user interaction with contracts running on the blockchain. For the moment, we're simulating that blockchain inside the browser, but eventually this will be the tool you'll use to run contracts for real on Cardano. Now, to interact with the contract, your wallet needs to be involved to control your signature and to control your assets. So we link up Marlo Run with a wallet. Let's link it up with Shruti's wallet. So in this window, we see the world from Shruti's perspective. And let's open up another window and link in that window the world with Charles's perspective. And at the moment, neither of them has any contracts running. They have a blank space there. But let's start a contract up. Let's set up a zero coupon bond, which is a fancy name for a loan. And let's suppose that Shruti is making a loan to Charles. She's the investor, he's the issuer of the bond. And Charles wants to borrow 1 ADA from Shruti, and he's promised to pay back 1.1 ADA. So we've set it up, we've said who the issuer and investor are, we've said what the price and the eventual value will be, and we're now going to create the contract. In order to do that, we have to make a payment of 30 Lovelace to get the contract started. So let's pay, and we're asked to approve that, and the payment goes through. And you can see now in Shruti's Marlo Run, we've got the zero coupon bond running. But also, if you look at Charles's view of the world, it's running there too for him. Let's see what it looks like for him. We're at the first step and it's saying it's waiting for something from the investor, who is Shruti. So let's see what's happening in her view. Yes, she's asked to make a deposit, so let's click on that to make the deposit and click to confirm with a fee of 10 Lovelace and make that deposit. And then you can see her view has changed. Now she's waiting for the issuer to pay her back. And hey ho, we look in Charles's view, which is incidentally the mobile view of Marlo Run. He's asked to pay his 1.1 ADA. Let's make him do that now. And he'll also have to pay a 10 Lovelace transaction fee. And let's make that deposit. And you see now from both their perspectives, that loan is completed. So you can see the history of what's gone on. You can see at particular points the balances that the contract holds. And in fact, we can, if we close that, we can see the history of all the contracts that Shruti has taken part in. So I think that pretty much covers the basics of what you get from Marlo Run. It's a intuitive interface to a contract running on the blockchain, and you see that each participant in the contract gets their view of the contract in real time, updated from what's, in this case in the browser, but eventually what's on the blockchain.
If any of you are interested in learning how to use Marlo, we've included links to the Marlo webinar where registration is open until the 3rd of June, as well as a link to Professor Thompson's Marlo seminar series on YouTube. Before we move on with the rest of the review, here's a quick word from hopefully your favorite mission-driven stake pool, ADA from AFRCA.
Staking with ADA from AFRCA not only earns you interest on the ADA in your wallet, it also directly benefits local businesses and charities run by Africans in Africa. We pledge 10% of our own proceeds to go to these two foundations. Zim Kids are a grassroots organization and are completely Zimbabwean-led in the field. They have developed a strategy for helping families stay together despite the death of parents, illness, and homelessness. Zim Kids works with the whole family, helping them to learn to get themselves out of poverty. The IAPF founded Akashinga, Nature Protected by Women, a program that has already grown to over 170 employees, becoming the only group of nature reserves in the world to be protected by women. The goal is to employ 1,000 women by 2025, and we want to help them achieve just that. Between these two foundations, child protection, food security, empowerment of women, and wildlife conservancy are all covered. We give to these charities personally and would love to increase our contributions with every ADA staked with us. Our stake pool is operated, monitored, and protected by Zimbabwean experts that have more than 20 years experience in protecting digital assets. Our geo-redundant relay network ensures 99.99% uptime for minting new ADA in Africa. Don't delay, stake with ADA from AFRCA right away.
This 360 gave a great update on how the Plutos Pioneers program is shaping up. Here are some of the key takeaways. The first phase of the Plutos Pioneers program has an uptake of over 1,000 students. These pioneers have already identified some of the bugs in Plutos and already provided solutions. This is exactly how I would expect things to happen and is simply amazing. These levels of engagement are simply a preview of the sheer greatness that is on the horizon. If you would like to join the Plutos Pioneers program, there will also be a phase 2 you can join. In the meantime, all the first phase lectures are available for free on YouTube, and a link will be in the description. Alongside the great work being done by the pioneers, we also have the Plutos partners who will be involved in testing as well as DApp and use case development. Some of the Plutos partners highlighted in this 360 were Metamask, whose expertise is in fintech that utilizes Haskell. We also have Eleeks, which is spelled E-L-E-K-S if you want to have a look for them, which is a fintech company which focuses on blockchain and automation, whose previous projects include a tamper-proof document store built in Hyperledger. Lastly, we have Alt Labs, whose focus is on distributed ledger technology and decentralization. Their previous projects include a decentralized storage solution built using Filecoin. All three of these partners voiced their pride and enthusiasm in being given the opportunity to be part of Cardano's vision and journey. One of the most significant features to come is the ERC20 Converter, because it will bring interoperability and game-changing utility. This month's key updates on the ERC20 Converter include the migration of SingularityNet's AGI token from the Ethereum network to the Cardano network. SingularityNet's reasons for the move is because of their fundamental use case being AI to AI communication and an AI marketplace, so speed and security is paramount for them. Also, Plutos is vital to the SingularityNet being able to launch their AI marketplace. The ETH to ADA bridge will be released on the testnet in June and will only be one directional, so ETH to ADA. The Cardano ERC20 Converter, once fully deployed on the mainnet, aims to ultimately work in both directions, so for ETH to ADA as well as ADA to ETH. Here's a quick ERC20 Converter demo that you may find interesting.
First of all, you have to configure your Metamask wallet into the Koban test network from this dropdown. And then you can connect your wallet. If you click in Connect, it will prompt you the confirmation to connect your Metamask wallet. And then you have to connect also your Cardano wallet. You have to go to the testnet version of Daedalus and copy one of the addresses you can find into this section. After pasting and saving your wallet, you will see that everything is configured and we can now migrate our tokens from Ethereum to Cardano. Here I have 150 tokens I got from the faucet. I can click and select, and I can migrate, for example, 50 tokens. After clicking in Convert, I will get a prompt to confirm the migration using Metamask, and I get this model in which I can see that the conversion is being processed. I can go to the transaction sections to see how the conversion is being processed, and if I wait for a few seconds, I will see that both transactions will be confirmed in Ethereum and on Cardano. So let's wait. Now that both transactions have been processed, I can see the transaction ID of the transactions on Ethereum and on Cardano. If I click in this link, I can see the transaction on AFRCA, and if I click in this second link, I can see the transaction on the Cardano Blockchain Explorer.
A last technical update comes in the form of the peer-to-peer testnet. Before we get on to that, let's just appreciate this picture a bit. Cardano's plan for world domination, May 2021. Man, you gotta love that. Anyway, let's get on to the goals of their peer-to-peer network. So, the goals will be block producing nodes will be able to automatically discover other block producing nodes on the network and share information about the network topology on a dynamic basis. The peers will therefore be able to build the best possible connections on the network for their peers over time. This will mean that AGI will no longer need to run relay nodes and will be even more decentralized. This will mean that the network and connections will be self-perpetuating and self-governing. This peer-to-peer test network is currently in operation and is actually in communication with the mainnet, and will gradually be deployed fully to the mainnet. We also have a great update on the progression of Project Catalyst, which is Cardano's on-chain governance initiative. The key points here are: the funded proposals have secured 314 devs, 132 entrepreneurs, and 6 dApps. Catalyst's idea scale has had an impressive engagement with interactions from 25,000 participants. Both the DeFi Challenge and AFRCA Challenge are currently on fire with the amount of engagement. With regards to how you as the community can get involved in voting on projects, here's a reminder that the cost of voting on Project Catalyst proposals is so low it's virtually free, and in order to be eligible to vote, you only need as little as 500 ADA in your wallet. If you would like to be notified of the Project Catalyst proposals, you should definitely sign up to the Project Catalyst Telegram channel for notifications. Links in the description. To bring this review to a close, we have the announcement that Cardano will be hosting the Cardano Gogan Summit in September. This will no doubt be packed with vital Cardano updates, and as ever, Ada from Africa will be here to give you a rundown on all the key takeaways. So smash that subscribe button to make sure you don't miss our review. If you've enjoyed this review and you'd like to show it, there's no better way than to stake your ADA with Ada from Africa Stake Pool. It would mean the world to us and the charities we support. Thanks for joining us, and I'll catch you next time.